Hello everybody, and welcome to a Core Set 2021 Draft Guide video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the top 5 combos you can assemble in your own Core Set 2021 drafts to turn your decks from good into great and get those extra wins. Before I dive in though, I do want to remind you that if you enjoy the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future Core Set 2021 content, and leave a comment in the comment section down below with any questions or feedback, as well as which combo was your favorite and any other combos you've discovered that I may have missed. Without further ado, let's kick things off with an honorable mention. This is a pretty cool interaction between Keen Glidemaster and Run Afoul, and the interaction works because Keen Glidemaster does not specify that the creature you give flying to be one of your own. So essentially you use Keen Glidemaster's ability, give one of your opponent's creatures flying, and then you make your opponent sacrifice a creature with flying, which they now conveniently have under their control. This is usually going to come up in post-board games when you've decided to side in a Run Afoul and you have a couple Keen Glidemasters in your deck, though there will definitely be scenarios where you have 3 Keen Glidemasters in your deck, or something of that nature, and decide to main deck Run Afoul for some extra interaction, and then just sometimes side it out if your opponent has no flyers naturally. It's definitely one that's going to come up, but I didn't think it was quite powerful enough, and it is a 2-color combination, so I decided to put it as an honorable mention instead of one of the top 5. Though, moving on to the top 5, we'll start things off with Tolarian Kraken and Teferi's Protege. Normally, Tolarian Kraken's ability to pay 1 whenever you draw a card and tap or untap a target creature is used during your used during your turn to tap your opponent's blockers. However, with Teferi's Protege, you can use it during your opponent's turn to tap their attackers, and thus keep your opponent's creatures from attacking you and hurting your life total. Another cool synergy between Tolarian Kraken and Teferi's Protege is you can use the Tolarian Kraken's ability to untap the Teferi's Protege to get a lot more triggers out of it. So if you have, say, 6 mana because you've cast your Tolarian Kraken and you need to dig for a certain removal spell or a certain good card in your deck, you can use the Teferi's Protege ability, tap it to draw a card, then the Tolarian Kraken ability goes on the stack, you pay 1 mana, untap your Teferi's Protege, and then you draw your card, discard a card, and then you do the same thing again because your Teferi's Protege is now untapped. So there's a nice little combo between the Tolarian Kraken and the Teferi's Protege, and definitely you should evaluate the Protege a little bit higher if you do have a Tolarian Kraken in your pile. Moving on to number 4, we have the classic combo of Traitorous Greed and Hobble Fiend, or steal your creature, sack your creature, as it is well known in other sets. Basically, if you have a Hobble Fiend in play, you can play a Traitorous Greed, steal your opponent's creature, and then use the mana that was made from the Traitorous Greed to sacrifice that creature. If you do have some extra mana lying around, you can also sometimes just attack your opponent with that creature and then sacrifice it post-combat, but you can also just use the mana that Traitorous Greed gives you to sacrifice the creature. So you can even do this combo as early as turn 4 if you have the Hobble Fiend in play. If you're willing to move into another color, such as black, which also has quite a few sacrifice effects, you can use something like Village Rites to also sacrifice the creature and draw 2 cards to get that value that way. So Traitorous Greed is definitely going to be a card that is pretty good in your deck if you have ways to sacrifice your opponent's creatures, and this is a combo that is maybe more common in Magic's history. Steal your opponent's creature, sacrifice it is found in many sets, but definitely is not one to be slept on here. Moving on to the number 3 combo, it is a super powerful one between Conclave Mentor and Basri's Acolyte. This is going to be one that makes a lot of games feel incredibly one-sided, because if you go Conclave Mentor into a 3-drop, and then on turn 4 play Basri's Acolyte, your Conclave Mentor will double both of the counters. That means that your Conclave Mentor will become a 4/4, whatever your 3-drop that you played will get 2 counters as well, and your Conclave Mentor and Basri's Acolyte will kind of single-handedly win you the game if you can curve out like that. Another card that is very good with Basri's Acolyte is the Wildwood Scourge. If you have a Scourge in play and use Basri's Acolyte to put counters on 2 other creatures, then you will get 2 more counters on your Wildwood Scourge, which is quite powerful. And also, you can use Basri's Solidarity instead of Basri's Acolyte with either of the aforementioned cards, Conclave, Mentor, or Wildwood Scourge, and put a ton of counters on your team. If you do put the counters on your team, the Wildwood Scourge will get big, or the Conclave Mentor will make all of those counters doubled. So tons of powerful things to do in green-white with +1/+1 counters. A lot of these cards are uncommons, which is the only reason this combo was not featured higher on the list, because you do need to make sure you get these cards opened, and they're going to be a little bit less easy to come by than the common combos. But still, Basri's Acolyte and Conclave Mentor and Wildwood Scourge and Basri's Solidarity are definitely 4 cards that have incredibly good synergy with each other. Moving on to the number 2 combo, this is a pretty potent one between Waker of Waves and Rise Again. You can use your Waker of Waves discard ability to discard it, and then on turn 5 use Rise Again to bring it back into play and have an incredibly powerful 7-drop 2 turns ahead of schedule. schedule. The Waker of Waves look at the top 2 cards ability also helps you find the Rise Again, which is quite powerful as well. Another cool thing to use Rise Again with is something like a Crypt Lurker, and then you can discard a powerful creature card from your hand into the graveyard and then bring it back on turn 5 with Rise Again. That's going to be a potent turn 4, turn 5 punch if you can assemble it. And what better to bring back than another black common, Gloom Sower. So you can play your turn 4 Crypt Sower, then Crypt Lurker, discard your Gloom Sower, and then bring it back on turn 5 with Rise Again. That's going to be one that you'll want to keep your eye out for, though of course I do think that the best combo with the Rise Again is the Waker of Waves if you are in a blue-black deck. So don't sleep on Rise Again if you can assemble some of these combos, because while it looks like a reprint of cards that have been historically not great, there's definitely ways to make it more powerful than that. Moving on to the number 1 combo, what do you think it is? What shall it be? It is the combo between Spined Megalodon and Rousing Reed. I predict this combo will end a ton of games of Limited in this format, and is definitely a great win condition for those late-game blue control decks. Spined Megalodon is a hexproof creature, so you have no worries when you slap a Rousing Reed on it, turn it into a 6/8 flyer, which is incredibly hard to deal with as an attacker, and then slowly end the game with your attacking, scrying as a flyer that's just massive. The Rousing Reed is also just a great card to get you some extra card selection in that late game situation as well. So yeah, Spined Megalodon plus Rousing Reed is definitely going to be one to be aware of in the late game control decks, but even better than that, if you're willing to go into green, Burlfist Oak plus Rousing Reed is even more terrifying. Imagine turn 4 Burlfist Oak, turn 5 you draw your card, your Burlfist Oak, since you drew a card, is now a 4/5, you then play Rousing Reed onto it, and it becomes a 5/6, you draw 2 cards, it becomes a 9/10 creature attacking your opponent in the air on turn 5. That's going to be some really devastation. That's going to be a very devastating combo. So I predict that Burlfist Oak plus Rousing Reed is even scarier. And if you are looking for, if you're going to be in blue-green trying to assemble the Burlfist Oak combo, you can even do it with a Lore Scale Coatl at a lower scale. Turn 3 Lore Scale Coatl, turn 4 draw a card, it becomes a 3/3, Rousing Reed, you're then hitting them with a 5/5 that actually stays a 5/5 for multiple turns, unlike the Burlfist Oak, which will hit them for 9 that turn, but then only hits them for 5 on future turns. So definitely a potent card and a card combination, and one that you are going to want to be aware of. That is going to do it for the top 5 combos, though. Which one was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section down below. Were there any cool combos that you have found that I missed? I'd love to hear about them as well. Remember to hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me out a ton. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and remember to leave a comment with any questions or feedback. Leave a hashtag M20 combo to let me know, M21 combos to let me know you made it all the way to the end of the video, because that's just a cool thing to do in the comment section. That is going to do it for this one, though. I do hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.